Hi, it's Robbie, and this I'm putting up exclusively right now for the members. I know you've been watching the compost bin I put together here. Oh my gosh, this has been my favorite. I know I say that on a lot of things, but this has been no joke. This is the first time I've actually figured out how to feed the wild birds that are non-seed eaters, that are strictly insect eaters. When I finished the video yesterday, I almost ditched it because as soon as I rendered it, that takes sometimes an hour for my, for me to render the video together, which means you have to seal any pieces that were there. And then you have to upload it to YouTube, and that can take, it could take 15 minutes, it could take an hour. And then the other thing is they put it through checks to make sure it's to their standards. And that can take many times minutes, and I've had it take over an hour. So I was literally, no joke, thinking about taking it down because as soon as I went in with Zoe and I finished the video, I had my Wise Cam on there, and sure enough, I looked at it and I couldn't believe my eyes. A yellow-rumped warbler had found the open tote. Now, yes, that was my plans all along. I had hoped that, but I didn't know it was going to be in a matter of 15, 20 minutes. And I'm sitting there watching this bird and I thought, oh, I can't believe this. He flew around, and the first time he came by, he checked it out because, of course, they've never seen anything like this. I do have one set up in my bird garden, but I haven't left it open yet. And my plans are to have them all over and have them open during the day when I walk through the garden in the morning. And then in the evening, make sure I close it because I don't want any rats or mice or anything getting in there. Keep in mind you can get these with locking handles, but I'm going to do a whole video on this. But I looked at the camera and it was like, oh my gosh, this is the first time he started coming down. You can see the date on the corner of the Wise Cam. And I thought, is he going to come back? Is he going to bring his friends? I mean, I was ecstatic. I also figured out what he was doing on the flower pots on the top. And that will be in the video I'm going to upload any minute now, probably tomorrow. I'm giving you this right away. My mind is just exploding. I've got all these thoughts of like, holy mackerel. I mean, we don't talk about it, but Gary puts a lot of nests around the house. We had these flycatchers that are on the rare side, and they came in and they nested and they were successful. This was quite a few years ago, and they had a clutch. And then they came back for the second time, and it was hot in the summer. It was their second clutch, and they abandoned the nest. We saw they didn't come back by the time Gary and I checked it. The babies had perished. They probably couldn't find enough insects because they're insect-eating birds. And if they can't find enough, that's what they do. So this could change for a lot of birds as far as the abundance of food, especially for all your songbirds, especially like your yellow-rumped warblers, your bush tits, all the flycatchers. I mean, these birds need insects. I'm not sure if other birds will come in here, larger birds, but it's very possible. If you look, you'll see the hummingbirds that are just zipping back and forth. That's generally the way they feed. They don't usually, though I've got a photograph or I've got a short video of a hummingbird sitting on an avocado tree here, and he leaped up and grabbed a fruit fly. But generally, they'll zip, and they zip in the air. But this little guy came back and went inside the tote, and I thought, wow, this is going to be such a rare footage. It rained all night, and we had the lid on, and then I took it off in the morning, and then Gary put it back because it was pouring, and then I took the lid off again. I don't know what he's going to do when he comes by and the lid is closed. He's going to probably hang around waiting for somebody to open it. But he is so comfortable now. I say he, and I don't know for sure, but so comfortable to come back and forth. And just think, when they have babies, he or she will bring the mate back because they'll be collecting insects. The other birds that eat a lot of insects are your orioles. And so when they start nesting, the only thing is they might chase everybody off. I don't know how this will work, but like I said, I'm going to place a lot of these around. So I wanted to share this with you, and you'll see the date change. So we went from December 29th, now we're December 30th, and I can't put up all the videos because he's been here constantly. And I am so jazzed over this. Even Gary was standing there and looking out on the deck, and he goes, they're semi-tame. I said, I know, I've got to get out there with my better camera, but right now I'm just letting him do his thing. He's hopping all over the cardboard. Cardboard works good to cover the fruit flies. It protects them a little bit from the elements, the rain and stuff, but he's going to dig in that dirt. He's going to eat the little maggots. He's going to eat anything that moves. I mean, that's what they do. They eat a lot of different insects. So I wanted to share that with you. I hope I didn't bore you with this, but this to me is exciting because look at this. We're making compost, which here in the state of California, you're not supposed to throw any of your kitchen scraps away anymore. You can donate it, but you're not allowed to throw it away. And why would you? Because it makes the best soil. And then, so you're going to compost. You get to it whenever you want. I don't care if it's next week. I don't care if it's 6 months from now, a year from now. In the meantime, you're making food for the wild birds. And you don't have to buy any food. Do you know how much seed is costing us? I haven't even talked about that now. Gary had to go back and get more seed for the birds that we're feeding seeds to. This is free. Free, and this is the harder thing for them to get is insects. I mean, seed can be tough too if the seeds are all eaten by other birds and they got to forage. But this is free. All you need is a tote. Keep throwing your kitchen scraps out there. Take your shovel, push it over, push it all down there, and then push it back. Put cardboard on top if you want or don't. But look at this. Is that bird not having fun? I'm having fun talking to you and watching this. And I already watched it while he did it. I watched it live on the camera. I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it's been raining and it stops and it starts. But remember, they got to eat, rain or shine. And the thing is, this is making his life easy. And oh yes, he remembered where it was and he's been back. We had, I should have got a video of it, a little house finch early this year, a male. It was a young baby, you could see, but he was starting to get his color, and he found one of the hummingbird trays I put out. He could fit his beak in there to drink. So he drank for a long time. He'd come in the evening, like for a little shot of sweet water. It was so funny. And then when he paired up, he brought his female back, and they were coming all, I guess you could say all spring into summer. And then I haven't seen him oh, well, you know what? It's the trays. I was putting the trays out for the Orioles. And then when the Orioles left, I took the trays in, and so he didn't get any more. But he was coming to the tray at night, and he'd bring his girlfriend once he got a mate, and they would come for that little bit of sugar water. Not that they need it. House finches should not be drinking that. But it was just this one, pair of birds. But I wanted to share this with you today, something special, because this is something we can do that is absolutely free for these birds. That is if you want to have insect-eating birds. But keep in mind, you bring them into your garden, and they will leave that, as you saw in the video, and go to the flower pots and your planters, and they'll pick the insects there too. And Zoe can't get in there. And if she was a bigger dog, I would just clamp it shut or get something higher if they're going to bother it. Generally, dogs won't, but if you're not putting meat or cheese and dairy in there, I guess your dog won't bother it. But just put it higher. You can always make it with a top with a hole in the center. There's a lot of different ways we could set it up if we wanted to. But the hummingbirds absolutely love this too, and it's going to be so important for all their babies this spring. So cool. I hope you enjoy this. Have a great day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. And as usual, just because it's members only video doesn't mean I'm not going to come back. If you look at the timestamp on here, he hasn't left. He comes back constantly. This is unreal. Well, I mean, this is a restaurant, and it's all there, pre-made. And just think how healthy that bird's going to be. Oh my gosh, the color on this bird when he colors up for breeding season will be so vibrant if it's a male. If it's a female, they're a little more drab, but oh my gosh. And the hummingbirds, they've been coming constantly around here and hanging out, even though we've got the feeders all in the kitchen window, because they're collecting the fruit flies in the air, plus they'll go into the pots and the plants as they go up. And it's just been amazing. Look at the two hummingbirds. It's really bringing in a lot of birds, and it's not even set up. I plan on doing the whole corner here in more flowers. Look, I've got to the right, gladiolas are growing. They shouldn't be growing this time of the year. Gary said they're supposed to be all dormant. Well, I don't know. I planted them, and they're up against the glass, so they're not getting any draft. And look how tall they are. Are they going to grow flowers to the right? I don't know. But I do have marigolds coming up and different flowers. And then to the left, that's a potato plant coming up. And if you go look in there, oh my gosh, I had a fig leaf gourd start to grow on the deck. and I left it's sitting there, the plant's gone, and the fruit is still sitting there. And then in the back, I've got a moringa, and I want to get more moringas growing. So that is my goal, not necessarily for the hummingbirds. Look at this. See, when you see them fly and zip in the air, they're catching flies because their tongue comes out so quick you can't even see it unless you got a video and slowed it down. They whip their tongue out because it's a double tongue, and they can grab the flies in the air that way. It's not like they stick to their tongue. They have a double tongue. And so it's kind of like a double whip, and they pull it in. So they'll fly around, and they'll pick up the fruit flies. Originally, this little warbler was sitting on the edge like he's doing now, and you see him snap. He's snapping them in the air. I've seen that. It's absolutely gorgeous. They do it in the bird garden. In the air, catch the flies. But now he's like, well, why don't I just get inside and pick them up? Because fruit flies a lot of times don't fly. They kind of hop when they're not flying. So it's just too easy. He's been here for the past 20 minutes. I'm not going to give you the whole video because at that point I know it's going to be too much. But I wanted to share this with you because I am ecstatic that I can feed birds, not just from the garden, because they pick all the insects out in the garden, but control where I want them and control where I put this. This is in a really good spot, up against the wall, got stuff around it. I don't have to put any protection over it right now because I don't have hawks on my deck. If I start to see hawks show up, then I can make a cover like I did for the one in the bird garden, which I will be opening fairly soon so they can come in there and eat too. But I plan on putting this all over. I have one I'm going to make that's probably, I think it's a 2 or 3 gallon tote. It's a real little tiny thing I've had here for a long time, a green one. I'm going to set that up outside so I can sit it anywhere, even on a shelf. Like what Gary built me these shelves for the deck. You can see there's one where the black dishpan is. I might sit one in the bird garden like that, but I'll make straps because it's too open and hawks hang around in the trees and watch. But this is just amazing because when they have enough food, they have a lot of babies. Wrens will be coming here too because they're big insect eaters. And once they find this, the wrens do come to the deck periodically, but they're not nesting right now. So they find enough wherever they're hunting. But this is just fun. Anyways, I have talked your ear off. I mean, I'm watching this and I'm excited too. That's the thing. This is just too easy. And I kind of do like the cardboard on top because what's happening is the fruit flies are pupating, I guess you would say, on the cardboard. And you'll see the little dots all over, and those are what's going to open up and turn into fruit flies. And then you've got your little grubs that are on the soil right underneath the cardboard. And by them being on the cardboard, he can pick that off too if he wants to eat that. So I have a little more control. If I don't want him, you can gather him up and toss him somewhere. This has just been too cute. I think one for the deck will be enough because when I have kitchen scraps I want to put out there in a pinch or leaves, I just push everything over, dump it in there, and of course you'll be able to shovel out, or I'll be able to shovel out when I start planting. It'll be so rich in there. Just 2 or 3 shovels I can add into a container. I can put in shredded paper and leaves and a little potting soil if I want, or old soil from another tote, and this. And this is going to be so good. It's kind of like they make the yeast bread and they say, oh, our sourdough yeast is 100 years old. That's because they make it and they take little bits and they continue it, the same yeast for 100 years. Well, we could do the same thing in our tote. So again, hope you enjoyed this. Oh my God, look at him. He's having a feast. You can't see the whole thing. I just watched him. It was literally minutes ago, and it was so long. He is still out there, and I just feel bad in the morning when he shows up, and I'm not up, and it's closed. But he'll come back. He'll just figure, those lazy humans, why didn't they open it up for me? And who knows, some of the fruit flies will come out on the little side holes, but he won't get the big feast like he's getting now. This is just too easy. Hey, tell that little guy, life isn't always that easy, so we sometimes do have to work for what we want. He'll come back. So with that, have a wonderful day. Oh my gosh, too funny. Have a great day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye again.